start with Mayim Vega, who have started her journey from NASA and Silicon Valley to holistic healing. That is very fascinating. And today we'll be talking all about her. So, Mayim, please start with your introduction.
Absolutely. Yes. So, my name is Mayim Vega, as you said, and
Yeah.
I'm here in Texas, actually, in the
Right.
United States. And I'm Filipino and I'm
Okay.
married. I'm 46 years old. I have 7 children that I've given birth to.
Oh, that's
Um,
remarkable. Yeah.
yeah, all given birth naturally, no C-section or drugs, or anything
Wow.
like that. I gave birth to the last six. The first one was in the hospital, the last six I gave birth at home, really
Okay.
naturally. Um, and um, and I've raised them basically without the need for pharmaceutical drugs or doctor visits or anything like that.
Right. So that's
Vaccines.
wonderful. So, as a homeschooling mother of seven, how do you manage family, business, personal growth, and all this healing thing? I'm really, amazed by your work.
Yeah, well, I think part of the reason is that I started right when I had uh, my first child. So I was a computer scientist at the NASA Ames Research Center, and then I gave birth to my first child. And
Yeah.
then I went back to work after 6 months leave. And then I decided
Okay.
that I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be away from my baby.
Yeah. So
So I
you,
decided to quit my
yeah.
career and be a stay-at-home work from home mom. Um,
Okay.
and then after two children, I got really sick. I got really bad migraines, and I was not able to. Eventually, I wasn't able to work anymore. I wasn't able to take care of my children anymore. And when it got to the point where I couldn't sleep anymore, that's when I asked my husband to rush me to the emergency room. And they ran a bunch of tests on me, and
Yeah.
they asked me a bunch of questions, and the doctor said that she thought that I had a brain tumor.
Oh,
And
that's bad.
yeah, but then they gave me a CT scan, and they said, "Well,
Okay.
good news, you don't have a brain tumor, but bad news, we don't know what's wrong with you." And they
Wow.
couldn't really help me. They gave me some Valium, but that didn't really help me with the
Yeah.
root cause.
So I've heard that nature itself is the best physician, and you have dedicated your life to natural healing. And in today's world of fast medicine and quick fixes, what do you think people misunderstood the most about healing power of nature?
I think one big myth is that's out there is that we should all be vegetarian or vegan or plant-based. I think that
Yeah.
is really bad. And
Okay.
it's unnatural for humans to be completely vegan. Um, I understand that in India there are vegetarians, but they still
Yeah.
get dairy.
Really, religious beliefs are also associated with that.
Yes, religious beliefs,
Yeah.
but they still get dairy. I mean, there's not a lot of actual vegans
Yeah.
historically. It's largely a very modern day human experiment, and
Yeah.
it's caused a lot of health issues for people
Right.
without the nutrients that are found in meat primarily. People have all sorts of deficiencies. And for me, when I had my migraines, I was vegetarian and I was trying to be vegan. And that was partly the cause, through my studies, I learned that that was partly the cause of my pain is my vegan diet. And so I had to start eating animal products again and stop trying to be vegan. And that was a huge part of it. And I think another myth also is that mind and spirit do not affect the body. And
Yes.
I think that's slowly that is being done away with, that people are starting to realize how much our mental and spiritual selves are so important when it comes to our physical health, that they affect each other,
Right.
and that you can't really get to the root cause of a serious issue, either a serious or like a chronic or common issue. It doesn't matter if it's a life-threatening issue or just a chronic issue. There's something mental, spiritual also going on that's
Yeah.
contributing to that, and also maybe preventing the healing process.
Great. So you have successfully combined tech, business, holistic health. So any tech tools would you recommend for coaches or entrepreneurs to scale their impact?
Tools. Well, Zoom. We're using Zoom right now.
Yeah.
I think Zoom is great. I've tried to use other things, but I really love um like the virtual backgrounds, and
Yeah.
I don't know. Zoom is just very convenient. You can go live. You can get a free version. I mean, Zoom is really great. You can stream on YouTube and Facebook using Zoom, and I don't know, it's really, really powerful. And what I
And
do is I'm sorry. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, and I really like the fact that you are very well spiritual as well as you were from the scientist background, because here people have this misbelief that science is God and nothing else exists. So, what do you think about that?
Science is a way to examine a specific part of God's creation.
Yeah,
It's a tool that we use. We also have history. History is another way we can learn
right.
about the universe and creation, and about God. Personal experience is also important. All these realms. Art is also, it stimulates emotions,
Yeah.
psychology, and the mind. These are scientific things. So science is definitely, it shouldn't be devoid of spirituality. I don't think they have to be. I think there's value in the scientific approach, but scientific approach doesn't um have to dominate,
Yeah.
over another thing. And certainly there are things also that spirituality should regulate some of the fields in science, because we shouldn't be. I think of science sometimes, the way that people approach science, it's just very animalistic. It's just pure cause and effect, very mechanical. And we're not animals. We're human beings. I believe that we're special
Yeah.
from the animals, and we have a divine essence inside of us that science has not and will never be able to truly capture.
So, do you believe in supernatural powers as well?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I've had what I consider miraculous healings, spontaneous
Yeah.
healing. And I think that can happen, but ultimately, I don't think God wants us to rely on miracles. I think
Yeah.
sometimes he blesses us with miracles here and there, but I think truly that the way that we're supposed to approach our health and healing and success is through knowledge and wisdom,
Exactly.
and science and experience and things like that.
So many people feel overwhelmed by different health trends. So, what's your practical approach to integrating holistic wellness into daily life?
That's a good question. I think that I think the key is, again, probably knowledge. When you fill
Yeah,
yourself with knowledge constantly, it becomes part of your inner thoughts. It becomes part of your subconscious. And that's how you start developing habits. And I think if there's something that you want to start doing and you haven't found the motivation yet to do it, keep on learning about it. We have books today, we have audiobooks, we have podcasts, YouTube videos, we have all sorts of knowledge at our fingertips. And so I think that's a key to integrating wellness, is just increasing our knowledge.
so what's your most recommended book for that purpose?
My most recommended book, I don't have one. I can't just pick one, but I do have a few favorites in like kind of like each category, you know. So
Yeah.
for nutrition, um I like the book my favorite actually is The Maker's Diet. It's called The Maker's Diet by my
Okay.
mentor Jordan Rubin, and
Great.
it shows like a biblical diet, how our ancestors ate. And I do believe that his combination of things that he talks about there is very healthy. He talks about eating good quality meat, whole foods, fruits and vegetables, and also fermented foods. So
Yeah.
I think that's a very good combination. And then for orthomolecular medicine or vitamin supplementation, I think the best book to start with is called Doctor Yourself by
Okay.
Dr. Andrew Saul, PhD. And it's a great and very entertaining book to help you understand the power of vitamins and supplements and why they're necessary. And then for herbalism, my favorite book is going to be um, there. Excuse me, No
Yeah,
Incurable
please.
Diseases. I think that's the name.
Okay.
No Incurable Diseases by Master Herbalist, my teacher, Master Herbalist Richard Schultz.
Right. So you have, I think you are running a Arukah Wellness, Arukah's Holistic Healer certification. What is that program and how it empowers people to become holistic healers? And what can participants expect from it? And what's the process you follow there?
Yes, absolutely. So the program involves my students learn number one, naturopathic herbalism, and that takes up the bulk of the program. And so that includes the foundations of holistic health. What is healthy, what is not, we should be detoxing from, and different types
Okay.
of methods of detoxification. And when I say detox, I mean detoxing from toxicants as well as toxins, as well as mental and spiritual toxins. So it's a very broad definition of toxins. And then we also go into diet and nutrition and orthomolecular nutrition, as I mentioned before. And then my students also study herbalism, which
Okay.
includes also touching on homeopathy and essential oils and aromatherapy and things like that. And then they also learn about how to holistically approach various the leading killers in our world today, the top killer diseases, as well as
Yeah.
common problems like skin issues and digestive issues and things like that. So they learn all that in the naturopathic herbalist portion. And then the next portion would be holistic life coaching.
Yeah.
And the reason why I believe that's important is because that's really where we deal with the mind and the spirit and giving people tools to have a positive mindset, reframe their thoughts and their problems so that they become opportunities and challenges instead of problems and things that will bring us down, but instead they will empower us because of the way that we approach them and handle them in life. So I think that's a key to being healthy and whole. And I've achieved that through holistic life coaching, which is why it's become part of my module, part of the program, one of the modules in the program. And then lastly is online business and marketing.
Yeah.
And the reason why that is included is because, well, I've been a stay-at-home, work-from-home mom, an entrepreneur
Right.
ever since my first child. And just the freedom that I've experienced. I surpassed my salary at NASA, and I've been, I can work whenever I want, from wherever I want, and be with my children. I can homeschool them, and so it's just given me so much freedom, time freedom, location freedom, financial
Yeah.
freedom. And as a holistic healer, there's not a lot of jobs for this. You really have to create your own path, and so
So,
that's why, yeah.
right.
That,
So, do you regret leaving NASA and doing homeschooling and parenting and playing an important role in holistic health?
No, I don't regret it at all. I mean, I loved my time at NASA. It was wonderful. It
Okay.
was so much fun working at NASA. But
Yeah.
I think I've accomplished more and can serve people in a different way
Okay.
that I couldn't have before. And I think for me, it feels like a more meaningful way. And also it feels like this is my purpose, my calling, you know.
Right. So, any practical tips for maintaining a strong marriage while balancing multiple responsibilities, balancing the life of your kids, parenting, and everything? So, how do you manage
Oh, the
all that?
marriage. Oh, okay, my
Yeah.
marriage. Because I believe in the Bible,
Yeah.
I really believe in commitment, and I believe that the marriage union is a divine union,
Yeah.
and that as long as, the two
Because
partners are.
nowadays people don't treat it as a sacred thread. They just want to break it and use it again whenever they would like.
Yeah, and I've had hard times in my marriage as well, and I wanted to divorce my husband twice in my
Oh,
marriage. And but I always those were just thoughts, and I always allowed for ways to improve it instead of um instead of divorce. And
yeah.
I think that I really believe in. I don't believe that it's a sin to get divorced, or I don't think it's wrong to get divorced, if it's not healthy for you to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
in the marriage.
yeah,
Sometimes it's not healthy to stay in the marriage. However, if you can manage it, and if both parties are willing to work to improve it and work together, I think, getting counseling or marriage coaching. And another thing we do is we study marriage and relationship books together. Sometimes we'll read them together and discuss it, or we'll read apart from each other and discuss it. And then we also take time out to have dates and things like that. But I think for me also, one of the keys is because I could be independent. Like I'm financially able
okay,
to live on my own if I want to. And I think for me, that has given me the freedom to love my husband instead of feeling like I'm stuck with him. I never feel like I'm stuck with him. I always feel like I want to be with him. I want to choose him. I want to make our marriage work. I don't need him, but I want him. And I think that's also, I really want my daughters to be financially independent for that
yeah,
reason, so that they have the freedom to love their spouses instead of feeling like they're trapped in a relationship, because I think that can affect us mentally and spiritually also, and physically.
right. So, about your personal growth and life, what advice would you like to give the women out there in the world who want to start similar kind of business and do manage everything while going through the crisis of life? Any personal advice or incident you would like to share? Anything that inspired you in your life?
I think that we should believe that we have a divine spirit within inside of us that
Yeah,
is leading us. And when we believe that our calling and our purpose is from a higher power, I think that is really what gives us the motivation to keep going and keep striving in whatever the task, whether it be entrepreneurship or marriage or parenting, regardless of the obstacles that come our way. I think it's to have a faith in the divine purpose and calling of everything that you do, whether it be your business, because business, I believe this can be a divine thing. Your
yeah,
business is the way that you serve the world, the way that you serve God's people,
yeah, because you're helping people with your knowledge.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
it's also divine, and so we can have that motivation saying, "Well, this is not just a business that I'm making money with. This is God's work." And if you can't say that, well, then maybe you should do a career change. Maybe you should do something on the side or something like that to help you feel like you are fulfilling your purpose.
So, any your favorite self-care ritual or any ritual you do on daily basis? Like in India, whenever people open their business before they pray to God that our day will go well, we will sail well, something like that. So, any favorite self-care ritual you would like to mention?
Yes. Well, you know what? I really like to put God and my family first.
Yeah,
So the first things that I do in the morning is going to be physical and spiritual and mental. So, like, for example, praying with my children is one of the first things. Also, reading either spiritual and also personal development to, get my mindset up and my spiritual focus, put it there. And then also making sure to get proper nutrition. um,
right.
you know, for me, breakfast has become very important because without it, it's hard for me to focus and concentrate. I'm more moody and irritable, etc. And then in the middle of the day, I always try to take a break and exercise. And then towards the end of the day, what we like to do as a family also is have gratitude time. We think about what are we thankful for today? What are some nice things that other people have done for us? And I think that helps, just helps us appreciate and be mindful of every single day.
Right. So, do you also believe in law of attraction or manifestation like these things?
I do, but I would probably explain it, in a more rational way. I,
Yeah,
I believe
please.
I believe that, our thoughts create reality.
Right.
Our thoughts um our thoughts power our emotions, and our emotions power our actions, and then our actions become our reality. So, it's not like some weird, strange thing that can't be explained or is irrational, but it's a very, I think, scientific, logical progression of thoughts becoming our reality.
Okay. So, any spiritual experience do you have felt during your life which science can't explain? Something like that you have felt?
I'm sorry, can you say that question one more time?
Yeah. So, I was saying that any spiritual experience you have had in your life that even science can explain, or it's not possible with any scientific theories to prove that kind of experience you have felt.
Um, yes, I mean, I've had miraculous healing through prayer.
Okay.
And I was able to, that's actually why I became religious, is because I prayed for healing, and then I got a very clear um answer to, and I don't want everyone to do this. I don't like to say this because I don't think it could be dangerous to say this, but
Yeah.
I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
Oh,
And I was hospitalized for a while, and they gave me medication. And then and they warned me, they said, I think I was in there for 2 months. And the doctor
okay.
said, if if you stop taking this medication, you're going to come back here shortly, because you're going to go crazy again. Basically, I was not in my right state of mind. And this was back in college, when I was in college.
All right.
And then I went back and I was taking the medication that the doctor gave me, which was Valium. And then I started actually, it got worse. It was worse than even before my bipolar symptoms. And so I was really scared, and I started praying. And I was like, dear God, I thought I was healed, and I'm taking the medication that the doctor gave me, but I'm worse now. I'm worse now. Why am I worse? And then I
Yeah.
then I got a very clear answer. And I was impressed. I felt like God was saying, you need to throw away your medication and realize that your healing comes from me. And it was
Right.
very clear. And I told my mother about it, because she was at home with me when I experienced that. And she was a woman of faith also. And so she said, well, if that's what you believe God wants you to do, go ahead and do it. And so I did. I threw away the medication. I stopped taking it. and it went away, and I wasn't sick anymore. And I just felt like God wanted me to understand that my healing didn't come from the medication, just as he said, that it came because he wanted me to be healed. But I didn't, I say that, and I'm not saying that everyone should throw away their medication. That's very dangerous. Um, because I don't, I don't know what the ramifications of that are. But
Yeah.
sometimes it does happen. Sometimes miracles do happen. And it's not something that I can tell someone. I don't create the miracles. God creates those miracles. But he didn't tell me that and then just say, now you can do whatever you want. After he told me that I would be healed through him alone, he also led me to study and learn about true holistic health and healing, because it's like, it's just like when you are healed of cancer, whether it was a miracle that cured your cancer or whether it was the surgeon cut out your cancer, you still
Yeah.
have to change your diet and your lifestyle and your mindset, because if you don't, it's going to come back. The cancer will come back. So whether
Yeah.
you have a miraculous healing or you're healed through surgery or chemotherapy or whatever, you still have to take care of yourself. You still have to learn how to stop making the cancer, or stop, being the kind of person that has bipolar disorder or has cancer or has high blood pressure, etc. Miracle or not, or drug or not, you have to change who you are in order to stop creating that disease within yourself.
So, what's your favorite herb you would like to mention to the audience that they should take on daily basis?
On a daily basis.
Yeah.
I don't like to tell people what to take on a daily basis, but I can
Okay.
tell you what I take on a daily basis. I have a special herbal formula that I take, maybe not daily, but like every other day. It's my
Yeah.
herbal calcium tea formula, and one of the it has a few different herbs, but one of the main herbs that's there is um comfrey root. And
Okay.
this along with the horsetail grass and oat straw has helped me with back pain, bleeding gums. It remineralized my teeth, so I stopped developing cavities. My cavities grew in. It was just amazing. It's healed me of so many different things. So
And
comfrey.
is it woman specific or anybody can take this?
No, actually, this one is not. This formula is for anyone.
Yeah.
Actually, my whole family drinks it, from my 5-year-old to my husband. We all take it because it helps us with our teeth, with different aches and pains. It's really great. And if you want it, it's on my website. You go to arukah.com, arukah.com/calcium. Okay. Now
Definitely.
the tea doesn't actually have um any significant amount of calcium in it, but what it does is it helps us to process the calcium that we're already consuming through our food, whether it's through
Yeah.
dairy or plants or whatever. It helps us to assimilate and process it better.
Right. So, tech world versus holistic world, which one do you love more and why?
Um, I really love both, because if it weren't for the tech world, I couldn't reach as many people in with my holistic health and healing, right? It's
Right.
actually the power of the internet and various different software and technology that has helped me to get my message out there, that has helped me to build a business where I'm reaching people all around the world, helping people heal themselves all around the world. So I love both. The both are gifts from God, really.
You are really superwoman managing all this, and I really appreciate for the work you're doing. So, any specific faith or spiritual insight that influence your approach to holistic health and wellness?
Yes. So I think it goes again back to the knowledge that I believe, we all have an inner healer, a divine inner healer within us. And we have to give it knowledge. And when we give it the proper knowledge, then it will lead us to knowing what to do at the proper time. And so I think that is the key. I do believe that knowledge, the Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. And that knowledge is spiritual knowledge, health knowledge, personal personal development knowledge. It's all kinds of knowledge. But knowledge, I really believe that it is the key. I'm all about empowering ourselves with knowledge, and that helps us to succeed in all the other areas of life, financial, physical, spiritual, etc.
So, how
Knowledge
did,
is the key.
yeah, yeah, that's really great. So, what's next for you? Any upcoming projects, books you are gonna publish, or events where people can find you, meet you, and can learn about this holistic wellness thing?
Yeah, so I'm working on a book and it's taking a long time, but that's partly because I have, I'm self-diagnosed with ADD, so I like to work on a million
Oh,
things at a time. So I'm in the middle of a few books, and I still have yet to publish one, but I'm hoping to get at least one of them out this year. But you know what? I've actually written a lot of books, but I haven't put any of them on Amazon or Kindle or anything. I just have most of them available for download on my website, and because they're shorter and things like that. But I have a longer book that I'm making available on a holistic detox, and that will be
okay.
coming out soon. I think the best way to, I'm always doing online events and sometimes in-person events too. I would just suggest that people go to my website, arukah.com, arukah.com, and click on the Become a Healer, and then that way you get my series on the 8 steps to become a holistic healer, and then you get on my email list so that whenever I have something new coming out, whether it's an ebook or a webinar or at some kind of event, you can be notified of it.
Other than this herbs healing technique, do you also believe in other type of techniques like healing with hands or Reiki? They mention in India, many places. So, any other specific special technique you would like to tell the audience?
Yeah, I definitely believe in, acupuncture, acupressure. I don't know much about Reiki, but I do believe
Yeah,
in energy healing and meridians and things like that. I'm not the expert at those things though. I don't focus on those things personally, but I do believe in them. Yeah, absolutely. I do believe in them. I mean, there's a lot of people that have experienced healing through them. So, and actually, one of the lessons in my program has to do with acupressure and dealing with pressure points in combination with essential oils, which is a really nice thing that you can do on yourself and on your family. So I think
yeah.
it's great.
So, as a mother, what are your beliefs? Like, are you more of a strict kind of mother, or are you more of a supportive mother who gives equal freedom and space to their kids? Which parenting style do you believe in?
I think I believe in a little bit of all. You know, I
Okay.
am strict in many ways, but I also give my children, I would say, freedom that sometimes other parents don't give their children freedom. I remember my son was
Exactly.
my son was 16 years old, and I let him take a trip on a airplane trip by himself to go visit a girl that he liked in a different state and visit their family. And I don't know, I guess traveling at 16 years old that might sound a little bit crazy. I mean, he saved up his allowance to do that. And I do
That's
like to
crazy. That's crazy even in India to think of that because parents are really strict here.
But then I'm also strict. Like when we do school, we're all in the same room together and I'm watching them. They have their computers that they work on, but I'm watching them to make sure that they do their work, and they have chores, that they help
Yeah.
with the cooking and cleaning and all sorts of things. So I am strict in a lot of ways. I also monitor the things that they watch and listen to, because these are our eyes and our ears. They are avenues to our soul, and I
Yeah.
really want to make sure that that's guarded and protected until they're mature enough so that I know that They won't, when you're older, the reason why you can expose yourself to more things is because you have this idea of what's wrong and what's right. And so you can regulate yourself what is wrong and right. But when they're younger, they don't really know what is good and what's bad and how to differentiate. So I do guard those things. So I think I'm a little bit of both. I'm kind of, and we love to, go have family outings and have fun, a
Yeah.
lot together. I take my kids to concerts, and we do all kinds of things together. And I think when they're young, part of the key is not to confine them, like,
Yeah,
like
right.
lock them up, but it's
Controlling
to,
them.
yeah, don't lock them up, like, so that they feel like stifled and trapped,
Yeah.
but like do things with them, like
Yeah.
experience life with them. And I think that is the key. So they don't think that you're preventing them from anything, but you're actually experiencing it with them.
Okay. So it's such a nice conversation to know many things about you, to learn about motherhood and how you are balancing everything. Lastly, I would like to know that the body is the temple of the soul. So in Judaism and many other spiritual traditions, taking care of the body is deeply connected to spiritual well-being. So, any connection and any rewarding part of empowering people through your holistic process that you have felt that is really, change maker in your journey?
Um, Let me spiritually, you're talking about a spiritual aspect.
Yeah, spiritual aspect.
Another one. Okay. I think another one is has to do with, in the Hebrew language, in the Bible, what's we call our ruach. Ruach, it means spirit.
Okay.
And there's in Judaism we have different levels of the soul, or different words that we interpret. In the English we just say soul, but in the
Yeah.
Hebrew there's five different words for soul. And so the first one is our nefesh, and this has to do with our physical body. And then the
Okay.
second word is ruach, and this has to do with
Okay.
our emotional health. And this is another very key important thing. um, so the third one is neshama. That's to do with our intellect. And I talked about,
Okay.
knowledge being the key. The fourth one is um, sorry, now the Hebrew word escapes me now, but it's about, to keep that healthy, it's about what we do. Okay. What we do. I believe it's chaya. And then the fifth one is yechida, and that's our divine connection with God and being one with him. But in terms of the ruach, I think for emotional health, what's very important is to remember that the whole range of emotions that God has allowed us to feel, they're all good. None of them are bad. Anger is
Yeah.
not bad. Jealousy is not necessarily bad. Sadness is not bad. We need all of them to help us, to protect us, to guide us through life. I think that one thing though is that we shouldn't let any of these specific emotions be in charge. There's
Yeah.
that level of our soul should not be in charge. It shouldn't be. Our physical body should not be in charge. Our emotional soul should not be in charge. Not even our neshama, not even our intellect should be in charge. And not even our actions, the things we do, that also should not be in charge. I believe that the level of our soul that should be in charge of our life is the divine part of our soul, the one that is connected with God, and to get in touch with that part so that we can transcend our emotions, our physical bodies, even our minds and our intellects and things like that, to get in touch with, our higher purpose and our higher selves.
Yeah. So the supremacy is the divine thing.
Yes, our divine souls. Yes.
Okay. So this was it, guys, and it was really fun, and we got many things to learn from Mayam. And I hope she get more success and more people connecting through our program. And I hope she will help people like this worldwide. And thank you so much, Mayam, for coming to our show and sharing your experiences. And I think we will soon meet in person. And I really became a fan, and I pray to God that I'll go there and meet you in person. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye. Shalom.
Bye.